Hello, my lovely Librans. Ali from Indigo Ascension. I'm about to do your Eclipse Transition Series reading now. This is to identify another cosmic energy, perhaps, that has been at play alongside the retrograde energies, alongside all of this Aquarian energy that's happening as we transition from the 21st of December last year. Now, I wanted to focus on the last couple of ecliptical cycles, because it can help other people, it can help empaths understand how we are affected by other cosmic energies. You know, it's more than just a full moon, it's more than just Mercury going retrograde. Planetary signature themes start to emerge once planets sort of conjunct with each other and square each other, and whatever the case may be, and go into retrograde. And the eclipses, which is the north and south nodes of the moon, are certainly which are all linked into the nodes of the moon, are certainly a very big part of this energetic influence for us all. So I want to rewind the clock back to the end of 2017 into 2018, and how this energy sort of told a bigger story between 2018 into 2020. Now, at that time, we had just kicked off the Cancer-Capricorn ecliptical cycle, okay? So Cancer was leading the north node, Capricorn was leading the south node. And for you guys, Libra, you were experiencing this energy within your 10th house and within your 4th house. You may have noticed this might have been processing for you in the year prior. It may have kicked off some point between the end of 2017 into 2020. There was definitely a big call to go home, to discover what is home, to what and feels like home, and certainly there was this other complementary focus as far as destiny being at play when it came to your career. 10th house, success, recognition. Maybe you are maybe you were back then closing cycles, starting cycles. Maybe you were simultaneously doing both after rapid endings. Take it however it resonates with when we're activating 10th and 4th house eclipses. Working with that axis, it's very much working with also the divine feminine and masculine amplified. Like I've said it many times before, astrologically, Cancer is in many ways the mother of the zodiac, and Capricorn is the father of the zodiac, if you like. But emphasizing those two placements on both your 10th and 4th house areas of life will also enhance this, because the 4th house is home and hearth. It rules the female parent, the dominant female parent, and the 10th house rules career and success and recognition, yes, but it's also linked to the masculine dominant parent. Okay, so in many ways there was this divine feminine and masculine merging assessment as an empath, you know, on the soul ascension journey. It was very much about balancing the divine masculine and elements with self, depending on how deep you went in your own healing journey as activated by your own soul. It would have been a powerful awakening time for many Librans, and in very practical ways you would have noticed desires, shifts, changes to what you would consider your home environment, as far as who lived with you, where you lived, how you lived. You might have been called back to childhood in one way or another, connecting with old childhood friends, being drawn back to the past on some level. But at least when you're activating 4th house energies, there's very much this desire to connect to what and who feels like home. I could be making massive changes at home. I could be desiring to sort of stay home and go into a bit of hermit mode. So take it however it resonates. There also too was 10th house stuff happening. So this redefinitions around success and recognition, career house themes, and really looking at what made you feel at home, okay, or what would make you feel at home in these areas of life. What you wanted to be recognized for. You could literally have also been having aha moments for many, you know, that might have linked you back to old childhood dreams after closing off career cycles in the previous year. So, you know, sometimes we are shaped and grown and patterned, and we develop habits and take on board other people's beliefs and dreams, and we find ourselves in careers that we didn't want, and it was all sort of to do with the family or what we think society wants of us. And when we activate 10th and 4th house stuff, it sort of does a bit of a rewind back to childhood and God, what about that dream that was actually mine before I sort of allowed the world to tell me who I should be. Okay, so this was a massive theme as we closed off 2017, and it was still transmuting for you in many ways up until the middle of 2020. So I wanted to do this eclipse transition series because it can help many empaths understand this bottleneck energy. Or sorry, it's not a bottleneck energy. Well, certainly it is with all that squaring stuff happening as we approach the end of February. But more so this holding pattern. Okay, we know the future is coming or here, and we need to do something about it, but we're sort of still stuck in old patterning in little ways or big ways. It's that existential feeling of standing on the edge of a cliff and I know I have to jump because that story no longer remains. Yeah, so that it creates this holding pattern within us, but we're not necessarily being pushed off that cliff by life yet, because we all know what that acceleration mode is. There is no choice. Yeah, so when we're comfortable and still within our comfort zone, no growth is happening because we're sort of comfortable, right? But that can help many in the collective work out a deeper understanding as to why they still feel like they're sort of still in last year's energies, why I haven't completely closed off any linking themes that may have appeared for you in 10th and 4th house areas that would have begun from as early as the end of 2017. So you will know in yourself, Libra, what you have karmically closed, whether you have ended and begun cycles and experienced deeper healing and insight, experienced success, or at least are on your road to success. And the very beautiful human parts of us, when we choose to embark and connect with soul and go on these awakening journeys and align with our soul and soul calling, will see us always take one step forward, 2 steps back. So in many ways, as much as it was a beautiful time between the end of 2017 into the middle of 2020 for you guys to be cosmically supported in areas of career, in areas of home and hearth, it would have required destiny to sort of clear the path for you in many ways. Okay, so maybe there was some healing to do, maybe there was letting go, maybe there was some coming into balance, okay, before that energy could truly activate. So hence, towards the end of last year, many Librans in the collective would have felt this lift, okay, because it can take us another 6 months after an ecliptical cycle ends. The reason I'm saying in the middle of 2020 is because that's when the Cancer Capricorn ecliptical cycle ended. You know, to connect back to the divine feminine and masculine, to connect back to home and hearth, recognizing patterning from childhood and how influential the dominant parents are, can really take us to the depths of our subconscious. And yeah, on very practical levels, when we're experiencing amazing 10th and 4th house stuff, we're seeing positive developments in what we would call home and who lives with us, changes, building that dream home, making solid grounds towards buying rather than just renting, or you know, whatever the case may be, or just experiencing a happier home life. And sometimes that looks like experiencing what that is not, so that I can, because my focus is in that area. Yeah, saying too, my focus is on career and success and what it means to be recognized for who I am and what I do. And how that was originally defined, yeah, in our home environment, the original home. So it's definitely a powerful transit, ecliptical transit to undertake. It takes us to our core, then brings about as far as manifesting that in the here and now. After that Cancer Capricorn ecliptical cycle finished for you guys in the middle of last year, you would have still been permeating, yeah? And many may have noticed a final lift as we approached your birthday season into the end of last year. So take that however it resonates. And then you guys kicked off 9th and 3rd house energies, thanks to the Sagittarian, the Gemini and Sagittarius ecliptical cycle that we kicked off in the middle of 2020. Now, again, it's a powerful time, Libra, in many ways, because you are effectively working with alignment, okay? Your 10th house activations under the Cancer North Node is actually aligned to Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th. Your 4th house activations under the Capricorn ecliptical cycle is aligned to Cancer, all right? So there's like this polarity of masculine, feminine, both of those houses rule the masculine and feminine. I don't have a picture graph to be able to show you, but hopefully you've got the visual in, and you can see what I'm explaining. And then we move to 9th and 3rd house energies. Now, again, it's still in alignment, Libra. Gemini rules the 3rd house. Sagittarius rules the 9th house. The North Node is currently in Gemini, and it's activating your 9th house, which is the polar opposite, okay? So let's just talk about the brief, okay? So when we're activating and working with 9th house energies, higher learning is at play, a development, a mastery of the mind. The 9th house is also ruled to tertiary education, higher learning, connection to higher self, more importantly, philosophy, advancing ourselves out of known constructs. Okay, so there's a purpose of journeying through 10th and 4th house energies, going back to the blueprint of home, childhood, so we can have those recognition and aha moments, yeah, and we can now transfer that to higher learning. It's about busting glass ceilings so that we can completely transform 3rd house energies, which is the other house that's being activated under these transits for you. Within this ecliptical cycle, and the 3rd house is all about communication, you know, changing communication styles, connection with siblings, connection with our local environment. 3rd house also rules training, so just upskilling in some way, enhancing my life on some level to ultimately benefit me, because unlike, why is that not going up? Unlike the 9th house, the 3rd house is sort of like, if I was to get certificates and diplomas, for example, in the 3rd house, I'd be getting bachelor's and postgraduate degrees, or whatever the case may be, in 9th house energy. So that gives you an idea of what kind of training, what kind of learning is sort of happening within those themes. Why is my page frozen? That's great. You know why, Libra? It's because Mercury's retrograde. So that's what you guys are currently activating, and you would have noticed this pick up for you in many ways as of the middle of last year, as you slowly transition out of 10th into 9th and slowly transition out of 4th into 3rd. There was a new way to communicate about 4th house matters, and you might have noticed impending need to communicate with those in your home or connected to your home, communications with those that were connected to your childhood, communications with parent or parent-like figures, this higher learning about this recognition and having these aha moments are all about cognitive dissonance outside of previously held perceptions, Libra. So this is the journey you've been on since the end of 2017, and we're still very much in that 9th house, 3rd house energy. You might find yourself communicating with others within 3rd house energy about what you have had acquired in 9th house energies and learned about yourself, as far as having, you know, you could be very drawn to spirituality, communications about spirituality, you know, in spiritual context. It's a beautiful time to connect in with higher self for channeling, receiving communications that are relevant for your soul journey as well. Powerful time for you to put communications out there after you've done a lot of learning, after you've tweaked and done career stuff, identified a career that makes you feel at home, and really start to learn this next level of how to get it out there. You might have come from a 20-year career doing X, Y, Z, and then a couple of years ago decided you now want to do this. And so there's been this, not just this deep emotional and mental healing about, okay, here's where I'm going to have to push myself over the cliff and do something I've never done before, and it's going to go against family, old beliefs, my old self, to really push myself out there. But to master this, it's going to require me to learn something higher than what I'd previously known, yeah? Because when we sort of step in with destiny and decide to follow destiny, destiny will demand us to meet her at her level. It is not the older version of me that can sort of meet the future version of myself equally, yeah? There's going to be this journey of learning in between, and that's where you guys currently are. Watch how much you can transform your perceptions. Watch how much has transformed as far as your beliefs, anything all the way back to childhood, anything connected to what and who feels like home and hearth to you, how you feel at home in yourself, how that was shaped, the events that shaped that, what you want for, like, how you want that experience to feel moving forward, what career and success and recognition means for you, you know, working with this concept of success and redefining it so it feels at home for you. These are the themes you've been working on and will continue to work on as we sort of step into higher learning in ninth house energies and begin communicating and really looking at connecting. It's like grounding this higher energy down and then practicing it out in the field. Okay, so you can do that with business, you can do that in your soul journey, your healing journey, you can do that in your everyday affairs with your connections and the dynamics you're experiencing, whether they are linking to your parents, whether they are linking to your siblings, and how ultimately your current relationships, how you form connection in love, you know, in friendship. Notice how karma repeats and how patterning repeats, and that has also appeared for many Librans as well. I want to take a look at, not just cover the astrology Libra, but I want to take a look at the at some oracle cards and tarot cards to sort of confirm and affirm these energies that have been playing out for you guys in many ways as well. But what I will finish with, astrologically speaking, is at the end of this year on November the 19th, there is a Taurus eclipse which launches a new ecliptical cycle. So outside of 9th and 3rd house energies, you will be moving into 8th house energies, my dear. This is primarily transformation, death and rebirth, sex, taboo, all things that go deep in the essence of Scorpio kind of themes, the essence of Plutonian themes. 8th house is also ruled by Mars, so we really get to the heart and the core of what drives us. After we've done the classroom work of 10th and 4th, 9th and 3rd, we're moving into 8th house energies for you guys, which will also connect in to 2nd house energies, Libra. What does this mean? Now, after a few years of really nutting, grinding, identifying what I want to do as far as redefining success, career definitions, what makes me feel at home, the higher learning and commitment I've applied, the practical training grounds of me putting into practice what I deeply now believe, here is an opportunity, and I've got goosebumps, as of the end of this year for the next 2 years following, okay, so into 2023, Libra. Powerful time to really make manifest as far as financial abundance. 8th house, which is what Taurus will be leading for you. The Taurus eclipses will all be about 8th house themes, other people's money. That could be, you know, the partnered and married Librans out there. Maybe your partner experiences a pay rise or an amazing opportunity. Other people's money is how we, like the 8th house, how we benefit from other people's money, okay? That also includes money that we get from clients, money that we get from investments and shares, you know, wills and inheritances. Take it however it resonates. It's a collective money or other people's money that sort of wasn't ours to acquire. It sort of came about. So this is also the area of windfalls, and it's because of these hidden and unseen energies that pertain to wealth, I guess. It can be deeply transformative, which is all about 8th house energies. But when we are energetically, mentally, emotionally within these energies, you're going to notice a going within period. So don't be surprised if next year, towards the end of next year, 2022, you again feel a little bit reclusive to really come about. But I would highly suggest working with manifestation, whatever that means for you. You've got a whole 12 months to sort of conceptualize this energy you've already like impregnated yourself with. So it is just a gestation period, Libra. You're powerfully connected to your higher self in this current transit of a Gemini, Sagittarian ecliptical cycle. So really connect in with that. Be willing to push yourself outside of old thoughts, beliefs, fears, okay? And when you bravely do that, watch yourself smash glass ceilings. It is the Librans who benefit in financial, material wealth, in very practical ways in the coming 2 years that will show that they are the ones that have done the work, okay? That doesn't mean that some of you are going to fail this thing. Like when we activate ecliptical cycles, yeah, when I'm awakening 8th house energies and 2nd house energies. 2nd house energies under this Taurus, Scorpio ecliptical cycle for you guys will be potent as far as deeply transformative. And the 2nd house rules money, and the money I acquire and make for self. 8th house is money from others, okay? So there's this strong identification of what is mine. And also from an energetic perspective, when it comes to beliefs, when it comes to other people's energies as an empath, what is yours to carry and what is not? Yeah, there's deep metamorphosis, transformative opportunities to keep tweaking, fine-tuning that concept. But again, on very practical levels, when we're working in the higher octaves of eclipses, when we step into 8th house and 2nd house transits, watch the money flow. Watch yourself become really crystal clear about what you want to make for self. And sometimes when we are sort of doing this back and forth process and not fully stepping in and actualizing cosmic energy when it presents to the collective, not all of us do that, yeah, because subconsciously retrogrades slowly permeate, and it's not till the end of the year after that planet's already been in retrograde for 5 months. But if we had have done the work 5 months ago and just become consciously connected to it and start to implement bravery in whatever shape and form that comes in, that's when we notice the higher octaves, okay, of any cosmic placement. I'll say it a million times. So when I activate 8th house and 2nd house ecliptical cycles, I could certainly be awakened to the need for massive change because I'm going through massive financial difficulty. What needs to change? My spending habits, my attachment to money, my irresponsibility with it, whatever the case may be. So just be mindful. Other people's money as a shadow focus could be, you know, comparing myself to the Joneses, all right, when I'm activating 8th house themes. So this is the energy that activates for you at the end of this year. But like I said, it can be a massively prosperous time, Libra. All righty, look at this showing up. The Knight of Pentacles, this is the card that represents the Taurus ecliptical cycle, which kicks off from November 2021 for you guys, which the Knight of Pentacles we know is solid, it is commitment, it is contracts, it is this slow-moving energy. And I don't want to use the words, it's definitely slow-moving energy, okay? But it builds up to this is the Knight out of all the Knights that is guaranteed a place at the throne as king. And the King of Pentacles is definitely what you want to be when we're redefining success and security for the long haul, okay? But it's going to require that you be willing, you know, to activate what makes you feel passionate and excited and connects you to your purpose. There's another Knight here. It's the Knight of Wands. It's about that, what ignites the fire within you that you can imagine yourself doing day in, day out, that doesn't feel like hard work. There's a beautiful partnership beginning here. Watch how business formulates, firms, and really come as using 2021 for the commitment to that, Libra, okay? What you've come from and where you are. Look, don't get held up on these concepts of failures. Many of you may already be picking up on 8th house themes as far as, you know, this toing and froing, because you've already kicked this cycle off with 9th and 3rd house energies, okay, under the Gemini Sagittarian ecliptical cycle we are all currently in. Don't allow yourself to fear what needs to be learned here, and that might look like on the soul path. God, how many times do I have to keep mastering this lesson? Or you're knowing yourself, Libra, where you need to push yourself out of comfort, and where you can, because it's about, you know, growth doesn't happen within the confines of our comfort zone. It happens in those moments when we step outside of that box, out of that door, into the wilderness, amongst the cold air, and we're just not familiar. But it's not designed to make us feel familiar because we've never been there before. To be something I've never been, I must be willing to do something I've never done. You have come from this energy of love. You've redefined what it is you love, what love looks like, how you've, you know, connected this idea of love with career and success, and career needs to be something I love. Maybe many Librans are activating under, God, what are you activating under Aquarius? I've just lost my train of thought. Not that it's got anything to do with, yeah, 5th and 11th house energies. So you might be very distracted, focused on love at the moment, all right? But what you're on as a larger picture, there is a higher classroom of learning here under 9th and 3rd house themes. So what have you learned about love? Now apply that to 10th and 4th house things, career, home and hearth. These are things, and again, when we're activating 10th and 4th house, we are connecting in to the masculine and feminine roles in our life, whether I'm married, whether I've got a mother and father, my children, whatever the case may be. So there's been, I feel in many ways, Librans have had this other storyline going on when it comes to definitions around love. But I want you to use like, I'm not in the business telling people what to do, but if you use 2021 to really impregnate this idea of love into your career and redefining success, what you see yourself doing for the long term that makes you feel excited, what you're passionately connected to, partnerships that can be formed and started because of something you perhaps did not want to look at and you were holding back from, because it's got something to do with emotions. And if it's something that I bloody love, my God, as a creative venture, I'm putting my little old heart out there, waiting for the world to break it. Yeah? Now why do I feel like crying? Maybe that is your gift, is to put your heart out there, Libra. Tell your story through your creative works, through your career. Many Librans may have connected into soul careers, okay, or found themselves connecting into their soul path career by 2020. So I want to know, what do you think you are going to fail when it comes to doing something that you were born to do? Now I keep feeling like crying. Hey, you can't fail that, my love. There is no way you can fail that. Like, you incarnated for this purpose. So use all of this air energy that is floating around this year. There's a lot of homework to do for a lot of the zodiacs, isn't there? Use this air energy to master your ability to step into your higher mind. You know what needs to be balanced. You are the divine scales of balance in order to be able to do that. There was a big healing here for a lot of Librans, a lot of deep emotional walking away from unfulfillment. And what I'm intuitively feeling here, I was about to call you a Virgo, maybe that's relevant. Maybe Virgo season last year, which was the end of August into September. Okay, so take that however it resonates. I feel like I'm connecting to many Librans that have an old storyline that you connect to this concept of failure, whether it be career, whether it be deep beliefs that were formed in childhood about this dream that I really want to do because it's my soul calling, but I've been told by key personalities that I will fail at it. Okay, it's unconnected. I know it's connected, but you're doing a little love and home and hearth stuff, influential parent, the influential parent, redefining home and hearth, redefining success on my terms, which is a different classroom to then you actively engaging yourself to the higher classroom, the higher learning, the philosophy of this new venture ahead, and then actively putting that down into your everyday environment, working with third house energies. I just see this energy in very coded geometrical ways, and I get it when I see it up there in the ethers. I find it so hard to sometimes make it make sense, so I hope it makes sense, Libra. And the reason I use the word "it is not connected" is because that's where you've come from. But the minute you awoken, the minute you had your awakening, and it didn't have to be in between 2018 to now, it might have been a lot before then. It might have been in the years leading up to 2017, where there was this need to walk away from this old sense of failure, because you felt like a failure. You were made to feel like a failure. Something happened, you know, that's what I'm feeling here. But it's a whole new cycle, okay? That's what I feel like. And you know what? We're powerfully, karmically under these 222 codes. So 2nd of February has activated a lot of solar codes. It's the halfway point between solstice and equinox. So we know that we have to step forward now. It's the marker point between, and 222 is about partnering up with the divine, partnering up with your higher self. working in co-creator harmony with the universe, with your higher self, with destiny, actively saying yes. There was a very big healing chapter and a massive zero field energy, a whole new life chapter beginning for many Librans, okay? So from the, going back again, like I said, from the end of 2017 into the middle of 2020 was a powerful healing reset in many ways. You had to get comfortable with the uncertainty. You had to get comfortable with what it looks and feels like to close a door without having a new one open yet, and being surrounded by everyone saying, what are you doing with yourself? What's happening? But you needed healing. You needed that time. You needed to blend two versions of yourself, blend old realities, acceptances, with old judgments, old fears, old beliefs about failure. Busy blending. That's what it is. It's ruled by Sagittarius, the Temperance card. Maybe you were very tempered about beginning new beginnings. You know, there was a lot of closing off and coming to levels of acceptance within self as you sat in the zero field. 10th and 4th house energies does bring us back to blueprint. Like I said, guys, that blueprint energy, that back to blueprint, the zero field, before I can start a whole new chapter, I must sit in this energy. How have I been a fool for life? How has life been a fool to me? I'm really looking, it's a healing space. I can't manifest anything yet because I'm still deciding what I'd like that to look like. Because one is the Magician, which is the manifester. And I've already just come out of the World, which is the card that happens before the Fool. It's a really powerful time. It's the cosmic womb. And I know that there's nothing comfortable about it, God. And I can sit there in depression and be quite withdrawn for quite a long time. But when I get to a level of acceptance of what it is that I'm doing on a cellular level, on an emotional level, it's a complete reset, Libra. A potent healing time. So maybe you felt like life wasn't moving as fast as you'd like it to back then. Maybe Sagittarius season last year, okay, which kicked off at the end of November into December, finally felt like a lift outside of being held in this holding space, which many in the collective are feeling now, okay? So in some ways you might be connecting with friends and family and you find that they're going through what you were going through since the end of 2017 into, you know, the end of 2020 in many ways. Look at this, being your own boss, God. So at the end of that last ecliptical cycle where you were working with 10th and 4th house themes, you know, the 10th house being career, success, boss-like energy, you step into the 9th and 3rd house energy, and this is something that the only thing that's going to stop you, Libra, is perhaps the control tendencies or the desire not to invest in becoming a boss or feeling like the emperor of your kingdom. You don't have to be a business owner to feel like the emperor of your kingdom. This is you being the authoritative voice in your life about who you are, what your dreams are, and whose right it is to actually state that. I saw a beautiful Jet Li quote, like it's been kicking around for a long time, and it said, once you get so comfortable in who you are and knowing who you are, it becomes almost comical and humorous when other people try to tell you who that is. Yeah, invest in you, invest in that business idea, invest in anything that makes you feel like the emperor of your kingdom, that you are the authoritarian about how the rest of this stuff goes. That's what you're learning in 9th house energies. That's where you get to apply that on the ground in everyday life. And that application, that practical training could look like me putting a boundary line down with family members, friends, me putting it out there that I'd like to enroll in university, or putting it out there that here's my business idea, here's the gift that I offer you guys, I'd like to put that out there, who's sort of aligned, you know, like take it however it resonates. April, an Aries season which comes up, like I've mentioned 222 significantly for you guys. Like I said, it's the halfway point between solstice, December 21, 2020, to March 21, 2021. March 21, 2021. I got to look at those numbers. Because that kicks off Aries season, okay? Which is represented by the Emperor. You've got 4-4 here, guys. That's the 4 of coins, and that's the number 4, 44. Master builder. What are you building? You are building whole new structures in your life. That's what you're doing, Libra. Don't tell me what to do, Ali. Wow, so look out for 222, look out for 444. Be mindful of what you can gestate and completely like bring into being between November last year, which is Sagittarius card, and April this year, as far as what you've learned in this very powerful healing chamber. I want to rewind you guys back to 14 months ago, 14 years ago, when you were 14. Also, definitely the last 4 years, the last 3 to 4 years have been powerful and potent for your healing journey in one way or another. So, you know, where the massive cycles were closing. And God, as empaths, Libra, we still hold the karmic cords for old versions of ourselves. Just because connections shift and change and realities move out of our life doesn't mean that that old version of ourselves no longer exists. She or he can sometimes still be there, and that is the biggest grief, is to let go of that version of self, to welcome the new version. Like I said, that future version of myself, in order for me to greet her, meet her, and vibrate at her level, doesn't matter what she's doing, doesn't matter how she feels about herself, if that's who I want. Because it's not about the attachment of the outside, it's not about what she does for a living, it's not about who she's with or circumstances in her life, it's how she feels about herself. Because it's from there, it's the perception she has about self and life in the past that ultimately manifest and create her reality that she is living, that ultimately has all those things that we think, you know, that we automatically learn how to attach to as human beings. In order for me to meet her vibrationally, I must be willing to grieve this version of myself and to let her go. And that's it. That's the most simplest way to define such a complex process of what we think is about other people, what we think is about our failures, what we think is about connections that didn't work out, old dreams and realities and old pains and betrayals. And, you know, the biggest pain that we will ever feel in this awakening journey is to grieve an old version of ourselves. Because it's comfortable. I know her. It took me a long time to learn how to love her, and have I even really loved her properly? And by the time I have, I'm ready to let her go. It's this sweet melancholy sort of, and you can apply that to any connection, but it always happens in the connection we have to self, Libra. Oh, I can always go deep with you guys. I'm a Libra moon. You know that this is important. I've got goosebumps. You know that this is your time. Look at that. I just picked this up to put the card away, and the card on the top of the deck is the Sun. Connecting to the life force that you are, Libra. You have mastered a lot across the last 4 years. 14 months. 14 weeks has been a potent healing period, activation, gestation period. And as human beings, we can get frustrated because definitions around success and achievement look like being busy and being productive. And if you just sat underneath the sun downloading some content for a majority of last year, watch how that energy starts to germinate and manifest in your life well and truly and ready in time for you to activate 8th and 2nd house transits, which is all about the money, 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 baby. But abundance, yeah? Abundance and deep transformation as we activate the new ecliptical cycle at the end of this year. But now is the time to really immerse in 9th house and 3rd house energies for you guys. Push yourself outside of that glass ceiling, Libra. Be open to connecting with higher self, higher learning. This is very much about that future version of yourself. You're going to have to open to learning to get there, okay? And then embark on that 3rd house energies where you are applying that to your everyday and putting that into practice. You know, what I download and learn, I then put into practice, okay? Each and every day. that was your Ecliptical Transition Series reading, Libra. I hope you got something out of that. If this is your first time here, thank you for watching. I also do free weekly Zodiac readings on the YouTube channel as well as Instagram. And there are also readings available for your personal reading if you would like. All of those details are in the description box below, where you can find links to my Instagram and my Facebook as well. But this channel is and my work is always dedicated to empaths, intuitives and sensitives on the awakening journey. All right, Libra, have an amazing Ecliptical Transition Series as we close off this current one into the new one at the end of this year. Take care.